think some of these business owners are going to have trouble finding places to put it, and they have to have it hauled. And that goes for the town in certain locations.
Right, but I mean, it's really, I mean, if no one did it, I mean, there's no way we would see a sidewalk until April or May or June at this point. So, I mean, it really made a remarkable difference when people, they did it immediately. And unfortunately, I think they're kind of slacking off, some of the businesses are, because they've done it, but I would recognize the businesses who have done it, because it really made a big difference for a number of people. And I don't know if you've heard that from other residents of North Reading. So I wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you very much to the businesses, the police, the DPW, the town administrator, and you all for hoping to have been enforcing it. So thank you.
We have Mr. Yule here inspecting the sidewalks weekly.
Well, if since you mentioned my name, if I can add to what Mrs. Robinson is saying, I kind of look at it. You know, you have roads, sidewalks, then you have corners, then you have driveways, and then you have enforcement. That's pretty much the process, the way I see it. On the sidewalks, she's right. A lot of things have been done. A lot of progress has been made. We've had a lot of snow, so it's been tough this last storm, I think, for some people to stay on top of it. You know, what I noticed, and I have a few things here, is that Coder's Funeral Home has been superb. When they had 3 inches or not, they've been clearing that corner fantastically. 79 Main has Heritage Way, the Town and Country, the 132 Main Street, you know, all along 28th, that they've been doing a good job. And some have not been doing as good of a job as others. But some of them have been really poor, and that is the 85 and 87 Main Street, and Stop and Shop hasn't been doing, I know they're not there anymore, they got the gas station, but they haven't been doing it. Papagino's, Greenbrier didn't do it this last time, A&J Motors. A big one who never does it, okay, 28 Main Street. It's an apartment condo, whatever it is, on right, just up from Eastgate. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the snow is not even touched, and you know that's the area where a lot of people walk with things. Where you walk your dog sometimes around Eames and Kingston Park.
Kingston.
Right. You know that's.
You have to walk through the parking lot to get around.
You have to go behind the building. Is that it? Okay.
Yep.
And but I mean, they never. Even last year, they didn't touch a thing. Parker's has been superb, and they do a lot of work. They make sure everything is clean. So they do a good job. One of the feedbacks I get is everybody asks me, because I had somebody from the school call me, and I had a woman call me with regard to the corners where the students are picked up. Those are very dangerous. And is there a list that the DPW may have of all the bus stops, so that's something that they can address? One case in point is Haverhill and Eisenhower. That I did get a call on that corner, but I know that Southwick and Park has always been a big issue. But so those are the the areas.
Haverhill and Eisenhower doesn't have Haverhill Street doesn't have a sidewalk on that stretch.
Right, but they have a mound.
I think it's bus stop areas. I've gotten calls regarding the same issue. Some bus stop areas. I know it's been difficult.
There's some unique challenges because it's been snowing literally three times.
Yeah, and we understand that. I think this goes back. This woman has been complaining for a year or two about that corner, Haverhill and Eisenhower, but. The other thing was, and I realize this isn't a sidewalk issue, but I think Mike alluded to it, that Main Street, that's done by the state.
That's correct.
And the north end of North Reading, you basically had a lane and a half to get by on both north and south. it was really pretty bad. And is there any way we can send a letter to the state complaining that that was done? And that would reflect on, I don't know who does the service for them or what have you, but that would, you know.
It's not like that now, though. You're talking about right
No,
now.
but he's right. After the last two storms,
It was narrow.
It was very narrow.
Yeah.
Route 28, the north section of North Main Street was.
Right here at this corner.
From here and up.
Yeah.
So
Make
you,
sure that that's done.
Yeah.
I know that they were contacted by phone, but we'll make sure an official
Right.
letter
Yeah,
does.
Sean's right, even this corner right here, it's a half a lane.
right. So, you know, if
Busy
you,
intersection.
yeah, if we can do something like that. And so those are the, you know, the two things that I was concerned about, the bus stop corners and the, and 28 at this point. But yeah, there has been significant improvement, but we still have a way to go on it, so. But,
And I noticed that people also did, on my walks, is shoveling out the hydrants and also the drains, which really helped this past week with the rain, because people didn't shove out the drains in the DPW, which also shoved out the drains. It made a big difference on where the water went, so the snow would be melting. But and also kind of an awareness in regards to the curb cuts on the corners. Those aren't being missed
Yeah.
in regards to being sure that they're clear. And I think some training needs to be done with some of the snowplow drivers in regards to how they push the snow up on the corners at those corners. Because there's some corners there, because the sidewalk doesn't continue down the side street, a lot of the snow gets pushed up in the
Right.
corner, and that blocks the curb cut and the plow, and it happens to be on a walking route to school, so that the plow comes through for the town, but it can't get all the snow off that. So people need to be aware of that on clearing curb cuts.
yeah, it becomes self-defeating when you have a nice clean sidewalk, but you get to the end and you're stuck and you got to climb all the way out, and you're exposed to traffic and so on.
And I got stuck on 28 because I was so thrilled. I figured I'd just go and at the parking lot you were talking about in Kingston. I go through the parking lot, then I realized that the business, they had a big mound of snow, and I had to literally walk in 28. There was no way for me to get over the pile. Luckily, it was early enough in the day, there wasn't a lot of traffic, but I had nowhere else to go except walk in the street, or I reversed my route. So that wasn't the same thing that happened last week. So when I got there, I was surprised. I'm like, oh, darn it. It's back to the old system. So I think, you know, in maintaining it and keeping it up, because it's going to be, I mean, it's January, whatever, and it's going to be a really long winter. And I remember the 100 inches of snow in '96, that winter, and that looks like this is what we're going to have. So it needs to be continually
Please don't
maintained.
say that.
Well,
It's already been a
We're
long
going to talk
winter.
about
it's already been a long winter, yes.
Talk about the snow deficit in a little while.
So I appreciate it, and it really has made a difference. And it's made, as you said, to the police officers, the little things do make a difference in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as an aside, and that it just, one of the things that I noticed as a highlight, over the years we've been talking, and I've been harping on the Route 62 project and the poles and how they're in the middle of the sidewalk and stuff. You can see where, you know, with a sidewalk plow, which should have accessibility because of its width, you know, because of the ADA standards and all, you know, you can see where the poles are mislocated.
Right.
And how it doesn't work from an accessibility standpoint. The snowbanks certainly have highlighted that. I happened to notice that the last couple of weeks.
Snowbank's
So it's
pretty high.
not just it's pretty high, but I mean, just the sidewalk plow itself can't get through where the accessibility issues are. And I know that Reading Light isn't claiming responsibility, and the state isn't claiming responsibility, but, you know, we get sold
And I would guess a
we get
lot
sold a
of,
pick of the poke as far as where some of these poles were located after that Route 62 project, and it's a disgrace. You know, from the center of town all the way down to Route 28.
yeah. I would guess a lot of our side streets are 10 to 25% narrower than they normally would be.
Sure.
Right.
And my guess is
Every storm, they
they're
get
going to
a
be
little
challenged
narrower.
even further. the
Yes,
DPW.
I would just say that, keep in mind, we've had over 57 inches of snow in 1 month.
Yeah.
So if this does keep up with another 2 months of winter, this will be a 150-inch year, which will be a record by any standards, so.
I think they're doing a great job overall, Greg.
But the comments we hear are always welcome, and they'll make sure that they do get passed on to the DPW.
Okay, We should probably, we had scheduled a 7:30 public hearing. Maybe we should go to that and then go back to the T-Mobile Tower Hill House of update.
Actually, if we have the one-day license and the people are here.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
oh, okay, sure.
Good idea.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Steve.
Good evening, Chairman and Board of Selectmen. I'm Mike Wolf from 4 Sandsper. Tonight I'm representing the Mason Lodge in North Reading. This is a one-day license for our annual fundraiser Chili Fest, which is going to take place February 19th, 3 to 7. And we have a strict 3 to 7 rule, so 4 hours we'll be having this fundraiser. We don't normally have above 40 people, so it'll be relatively small. If I get 50, that's great for the lodge, but it doesn't really happen a lot. So, and that's about it, really. It's a brief affair. It's 14 cooks versus each other, a bunch of guests, mostly Masons. So, any questions?
February 19th?
Yeah, 19th.
Taking the chances, huh, on the weather.
Yeah. Actually, our backup day is like on the 20th, I think, and it's like, okay, snow, it's not rain. You know, the 20th is just as bad. So.
I didn't see any, everyone signed off on it.
Yeah, the only comment of substance was from the police department, which concerns potentially intoxicated patrons. And it's the same comment that always, that the licensee be diligent in terms of monitoring alcohol consumption.
To my knowledge, they've never had an issue.
Nope, never had an issue yet.
If I read the license right, I think they're actually okay to be drunk on the premises.
Very good.
I just want to read you something real quick, because here's what it says in the license. Is hereby granted a special license for the sale of wines and malt beverages only, to be drunk on the premises. I think we should change that in the future to say, to be consumed. I'm not making this up, I'm just reading it as a...
It's grammatically
Maybe in the
correct. I
future
understand
we'll-
the-
Yeah, when I want to go to this party. I can legally be drunk at the If I feel better, I'm coming.
Mr. Prisco.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant a one-day wine and malt beverage license to the North Reading Masonic Lodge, 283 Park Street, for an event to be held on February 19th, 2010, between the hours of 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., subject to all regulatory department requirements.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Do we have any further discussion?
Joy.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Just make the chili hot enough to melt the snow.
That's my expertise. But thank you very much. Have a nice night.
All right, and best of luck.
Good luck.
Why don't we just continue on the agenda as it's posted, then the next item is T-Mobile. So an update on system at Tower Hill.
Board members, letter is in the packet from T-Mobile. They are looking for permission to install some fiber optic cables to one of the equipment buildings that exists on the property for cellular communications. You have the details. Had been previously forwarded on to the water department, which reviews such proposals in terms of whether they interfere with the water lines. You'll note that the plans depict the cabling not servicing the tank. It services one of the sheds. So there's no objection from our perspective. The location has already been licensed and authorized, and I would ask that the board so approve.
Questions?
Just a question, because I've gone through one of these before. So when we grant this, it allows them to put their equipment on our...
No, they're already, they're changing evidently
they're
the fee to fiber optics.
Okay, no, it's updated, it's okay.
But for Selectman Prisco's information, what's normally required is a vote of town meeting, and then the Community Planning Commission has to issue a special permit, and then lastly, the board has to actually vote to grant the lease. So it's really a three-step process.
Thank you.
Mr. Prisco.
Mr. Chairman, I move to acknowledge, accept, and agree, as required in the notice of update of telco utilities to fiber optics for One Tower Hill Road dated November 5th, 2010.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Further discussion, Mr. Yule?
And just a quick question. Did you,
No, I'm just...
This is a question for Greg.
For Greg?
Sorry, yes, sir.
Yeah, did you say that the CPC will have a hearing on that?
Not in this case, but a new license, a new location does require a hearing of the CPC.
Okay,